Strategies for teaching vocabulary. The objective. Effective strategies connect core principle. This presentation will cover some of the possible strategies to employ when teaching new vocabulary. The important thing to remember is that the key to any effective strategy will have students take an active role in achieving understanding rather than a passive role of receiving information. This means connecting a strategy with one of the core principles. Integration means connecting new vocabulary with prior knowledge. Repetition means encountering or using the word or word concept multiple times. And meaningful use refers to using the word in reading, writing, or discussion. Strategy number 1. Students should read as much as possible using a variety of types of text. This will allow them to see previously studied words and observe how they are used in sentences. These tips can help motivate students or develop a reading habit. Number 1, find a book at an appropriate reading level or sparks a personal interest. 2, have regular discussions about the book. 3, set weekly individual reading goals. Keep a record of the amount of time spent on reading and notes on what it was about. And 4, create a silent reading time in class. Follow this with short writing summary, then have students read each other's writing. Strategy number 2. Words can be labeled into two categories, a concept or vocabulary. It is better to teach concepts because once this has been established, new vocabulary can be placed under a particular concept. Because much of the legwork has been done teaching the concept, explaining new vocabulary to fit within this topic will be easier. Teachers can help students understand the differences of similar words within a group. However, when the lesson is to teach concepts, teachers will need to carefully plan out a lesson and plan to spend more time to achieve understanding. You can see a couple examples. One is the educational profession, that's the concept, and then the vocabulary that fits within that, under that concept, would be teacher, instructional designer, or technology specialist. When teaching concepts, try using one of the two methods. The list group label is a group brainstorming activity that connects and organizes ideas related to a concept. The activity has 3 steps. In step 1, students brainstorm all that they know about a particular concept. In step 2, they group words that share similarities. In step 3, students label their groups. Groups can also present their findings to the class and learn from each other. They should explain how they came up with their groups and labels and even identify non-examples. Students can then organize their findings into a semantic map for a visual reference. When creating a concept map of a word, there are 2 important steps. The first step is to create important attributes of the word. These could include meanings, synonyms, antonyms, parts of speech, situation, and examples and non-examples. The next step is to fill in and organize the attributes and visually represent the information. It is similar to the list group label discussed in the previous example, except that in a concept map, the labels have already been determined. After students have an understanding of the encompassing concept, a teacher can use a number of simple techniques to teach vocabulary. These include having students find synonyms and antonyms, paraphrasing a definition where the key is for them to use their own words. Have students make an example sentence from the word. Students can also create non-example sentences. These sentences can serve as the basis for analyzation and discussion to explain their choices, and especially helpful for challenging words. After students have an understanding of the word, have them provide an example of how the word is relevant to them. Help them connect the word to something that they have seen or experienced in their local environment. The teacher may need to first show an example to students, and this can be used as a way to start a discussion. Alternatives to this might be to have students think out loud and share any thoughts that a word provokes. Students can also ask questions. A teacher could then collect the questions from students and then randomly choose one to explain to the class. Strategy number 6. The final strategy supports the idea that students need repetition in order to learn new vocabulary. This can be done by using and connecting the different strategies and activities that emphasize a set of words and spread out these activities over the class period or several days. Students can spend a portion of the time building concept maps, then switch to a different activity such as reading the word in context and discussing and analyzing how the word was used. Students can follow this by using the words in a writing activity. Doing various activities will give students multiple exposures and will allow them to interact with the words from different perspectives. Well, let's review some of the things that we talked about in today's presentation. And do you know the answers to each of these questions? Number 1, what are the core principles that are effective for vocabulary instruction? Number 2, which is more important, teaching a concept or vocabulary? And finally, number 3, what are possible attributes when creating a word concept map?